You know that feeling when you're trying to host a Minecraft server for you and your friend, but you can't get anything to work? First, you try some bogus tool that breaks your PC. Then some easy fix that just mines a little Bitcoin. And then the paywall. You go to bed all sad and frustrated, but then you remember your good old laptop you left to die like 10 years ago, just like your Minecraft dog. You never followed up on that RAM upgrade, never changed its thermal paste, and never cleaned its fans. But we'll have time for all that, cause it's Revive Your Old Laptop Day. Now your old Acer Aspire can become a happy little laptop, whether it becomes a Minecraft server, a pirate home cinema, or a very respectable webcam. That's up to you. But let's get going, cause that battery won't last too long. Today marks the tech equivalent of never checking in on your grandparents and then suddenly deciding to pop up and say hello. Just like that, just how he did it. But let's change the scenery up a little bit to represent the core principle of this video. And that principle would be, with a change of clothes, you could always look as good as new. Or maybe it's just a change of parts, because this plant is only one part of the scenery and we could just call that an upgrade. And we do have something on our hands that actually needs an upgrade, and pretty soon. This is the Asus X55VD. And it's about 13 years old by now. And this actually happens to be my old laptop, my first one to be exact. I have no idea whether I got it around its launch date or if I got it a year or two afterwards. My earliest memories of this laptop were made somewhere around late 2013 to early 2014. So it did in fact sit on the shelves for quite a while before I got it, because this was made back in 2012. And to contradict the evidence of the seed oil stains on the cover of this laptop, I haven't touched it in about 5 years or so. Or at least that's the most recent memory that I have of it, because I used it as a webcam back in the Zoom days. You know, I'm just glad they never changed the logo, because if you pull up with this at the local Starbucks, it could even pass off as a recent laptop. See? You can't even tell it's 13 years old. It might as well pass off as the latest ZenBook or whatever they make nowadays, so you're all good. It is a little battle scarred, so if you have something like this and you're planning to fix it up, don't expect too much overpay. But even though the back looks kinda recent, the front tells a different story. Actually, we might be good in the front as well, since I was expecting a Windows 7 logo over there on that key. But I'm pretty sure this was made in the golden age of Windows 8, and they only changed the logo in Windows 11, so this might look even more recent than I thought. But that's only if you remove the ancient Intel and Nvidia stickers. And these same stickers reveal that a very old i3 along with a GeForce 610M 1GB video card are hiding under that skin. I do remember this right side having a huge blue sticker saying it had some sort of Pro Max turbofan motion, but I think I ripped that off. Well, if that isn't my old DNA, I don't know what that is. Maybe I could try to replicate my 10-year-old self just to make him edit or something. The front chassis over here is all plastic, but this touchpad is really nice. It has this minimalist separation of the left click and the right click, and the click can go all the way up to here. There's also some light indicators for whenever it's thinking a little bit too hard, for when the battery's dead or something, and then for whenever it's writing to the disk or not. Pretty sure the cell tower is for the internet connection, and I have no idea what the locks are for. I'm very surprised that the keyboard paint is completely intact, since when I was gaming I was basically doing that at water boiling temperatures. There is of course a lot of flex to the keyboard, just like most laptops, but I wasn't expecting any mechanical switches or anything. And I hope in terms of audio we've hit the jackpot, because we have Altec Lansing speakers and that kinda sounds like Dolby. I don't know what kind of tier this hinge is supposed to fall into when it comes to rigidity, but it is pretty solid still. I mean, it's gonna bounce a little bit, but then it's gonna be just fine. And when you least expect it, it's just gonna close like that. In terms of ports, I think we're pretty stacked. For power, it looks pretty standard, and I've seen a lot of laptops rock this one. The fan exhaust looks kinda small and inefficient, but I don't think they were expecting any heavy loads on this thing. Man, I haven't seen a VGA port in a while. But here's our trusty old HDMI port, and that means we don't have to hook it up to a monitor from the 1940s. There's a hopefully gigabit port over there, along with USB 2 and 3.0. I remember when USB 3.0 was kind of a big deal on laptops, and they were supposed to make them blue for that matter. Nowadays they just make them that same old boring color. And then we have the old mic jack and headphone jack. And as the old tale goes about right to repair and foreign concepts like that, they put the ports on the right and on the left side in order to make some space for this huge removable battery in the back. That's right, laptops back then used to haul around this big boy and not complain at all, and it was probably very easy to find a new one. The problem now is it's 2025 and I don't think it's gonna be as easy anymore. Man, this is like the Giza pyramids for tech. A DVD multi-recorder which hopefully works. And then there's a K-lock with a very suspicious hole over here, and I have no idea what this is for. But can anybody tell me why this screen is so reflective? Were anti-glare coatings not invented when this was made? To be honest, I don't think water is gonna cut it for this screen at this level of dirt, and I'm pretty sure we're just gonna have to go with something more heavy duty. But since I don't want to hurt this hopefully functional LCD display any further, I think we're just gonna keep it H2O. And hopefully the seals around the screen are still intact, because otherwise it's gonna start singing under the water real soon. One final wipe, and hopefully we're good. There we go. Now I don't even have to buy a new mirror. Let's also wipe the keyboard a little bit because I don't want to catch any new pathogens. You know that saying that goes like, for every 10 healthy people, there's always one of them getting fed through a tube? Well, that's what we're gonna do. This is the original power brick along with a power cable that's gonna bring our friend over here out of the coma. And I have no idea how he got into this sticky situation, but I guess I fixed it. Now all I have to do is plug it in and hope I don't have to archive this footage. First sign of life, so far so good. Moment of truth. Whoa, there we go. Well, so far there's only some hard drive sounds. Does that mean our Windows installation is still intact after all these years? So it has Windows 7 Ultimate, and that's a good sign so far, and hopefully I still remember the password. It's taking a very long time. That's what, like 2-3 minutes? And we're in. Are there no desktop icons? Are they gonna suddenly appear or something? Is this hard drive that old? Oh, there we go. Man, I wanna bring the... we've got boot. I want to bring the brightness up, but it just instantly brings it down when I hit FNF5. But yeah, that's all we got. And I guess that's pretty much it. The touchpad also works. Man, I haven't seen these in a long time. I don't really remember putting these out of place like this because I usually have that OCD setting turned on. But man, I really missed CSGO. Look at that, man. There's Vegas Pro 11 onto there, so that's what, like 2014. Razer Cortex, which I'm pretty sure that was some bloatware from Razer over there for more free FPS. Look at that, man. Didn't Skype like disappear? I remember back in the day I loved Windows 7 so much, but I used to change the logo to the modern one, and then I would just use it like that. I also got a lot of toolbars and viruses doing that. I remember I cleaned up a little bit, and I think I changed the wallpaper back in like 2020 when I was using it as a webcam. But I think I used it for just a little bit and then I got a new one. I'm very scared to go into those folders because I don't want to find some old swazzy concept art or something. And one thing I appreciate is there's not a lot of bloat on startup at least, and that's a good sign. Which one is it gonna be first, guys? I'm thinking YouTube. I can't believe all these were hiding in here for so long. Lego Movie .05. Let's see what this is. And if there's one thing I'm not ready for, it's this, but let's see. Yep, seems about right. This is an old .minecraft file, and I think saves from PC don't copy is gonna be a very interesting file, but I'll just explore that on my own. If I see one more 2014 Minecraft screenshot, I think I'll just start crying. I think we should go into Club Penguin first. So there's YouTube New, Obama, and some Skyblock screenshots and stuff like that. The movie folder has some extra Lego stuff, and the hard drive is quite snappy, I'm not gonna lie. There's a random picture of back when my Lego Minecraft figures were doing satanic rituals, but that's when I had a D2000 and it didn't even have video. I'll never forget meeting that one beta penguin, man. There's an even older YouTube file with extra YouTube stuff for Minecraft. I have no idea what I was trying to juggle with here, but I guess there's that. And there's a dark spider oh no. Well, I guess now we know that the speakers work. So he waves the knife and he kills him, and then he drags him away, and it's a dark spider production. Perfect. I should use these as my intros instead. And if nobody believed me, I actually used that mic back in the day from that video. So he basically just pulls out a gun and then shoots you, and then did he just tramp over the gun? What about this one? Let's see. Oh, that was it. But enough with a throwback. Let's see if this bad boy can actually run video games in this state, and then we'll do some upgrades. Is this laptop even gonna survive connecting to the internet? Well, I guess it did. What do you mean other computers running Windows 7? I'm the only one on the planet. This is the launching of the Chrome attempt, and I was not expecting it to work that fast. How to activate Windows 7 for free. 100% working 2019. This might actually work, and I just hope it can play one video game, whatever that would be. In the meantime, let's take a look at the specs once more. So there's an NVIDIA GeForce 610M that has 1 GB of video memory, and then they actually put Intel graphics over there on the CPU. We do have gigabit, so that's perfect. And then for the CPU, we have an i3-2328M with a 2.20 GHz clock. And this thing only has 4 gigs of RAM, but there's only 32 megabytes available to use. That is actually insane. So in this thing, there's a weird 2nd gen i3 that ends in 28 for some reason. There's 4 gigs of RAM, and there's a 610M with 1 single gig of VRAM. There's also this very generous HDD that's 500 gigs inside, and I just hope we can upgrade both the RAM and the storage. Hopefully this is going to be able to run Steam, because otherwise I'm going to crash out. It's taking a while. And that was a 3-minute Steam startup. No, I really hope this isn't true. I mean, it's updating to CS2 as we speak, but I'm not sure this is gonna run on this computer. I really wasn't expecting them to detect my old hardware, let alone let me participate in their most important survey. But I guess Steam worked, and let's just get into the games. We'll also connect a trusty mouse, and hopefully it doesn't fry it. Of course it doesn't have a USB port on the right side or on the back side. Who'd think of such stupid things in 2012? I really hope at least Portal's gonna run, because that's from 2011, and somehow it's started up. Please work, this was made before you were born. And right away, Portal 2 is running at around 45 FPS right out of the box. Or I guess the box from the attic, because this is a pretty old laptop. Maybe with the right settings you could even make it run a little bit better, but this is right now effects on medium, textures on high, and shaders on low, so I guess that's what it detected. But for a game made in 2011, I wouldn't really expect any less. But let's see what other games we could run on this bad boy, because this is a very Steam Decky like experience. And I'm pretty sure 1366 by 768 is the max resolution the screen can go to, but maybe if we get newer games to run on this thing and scale them up a bit, maybe we're gonna get quite playable FPS. But this is running on the old hardware, so a very old HDD and 4 gigs of RAM. This is pretty good in my book. It is getting quite hot, so maybe I could lift it a little bit and get better temps. I have no clue why these laptop holders come in such weird packaging, but that's not my business, is it? And hopefully this is gonna make it run a little bit better. Up we go, and yeah, it just randomly decides to slide off the holder, so I guess that's not gonna work. I'm pretty sure the other 2 rubber pads fell off, and those were supposed to keep the laptop in place, so I'm just gonna have to keep it on the lowest setting. But even with this problem, the laptop is now kind of looking gamery, so that's perfect. I don't think we're gonna get to play CS2 on this laptop, at least not with the HDD, because there's an actual bottleneck on the download speed because the HDD is too slow. But a long time ago, it seems like I thought it was a good idea to install GTA 5. I don't even think I ever tried to run GTA 5 on this machine, but it only has 5 gigs worth of updates, so I guess we're just gonna go with that. Apparently the download is corrupt and we can't do anything about it. And that happened in the last 100 megabytes, so I guess we're not lucky today. It's always Minecraft in the end, isn't it? Oh, come on, has everybody given up on Windows 7? It's gonna be blazing fast if this thing even accepts an SSD, but for now, everything is really slow. And there's the latest Minecraft running on this ancient laptop, or hopefully running. Pretty sure this is also going to take a very long time, or apparently not. And we're in. The fan is also revving up quite a bit, and it's safe to say on default settings it is playable, but it's not an enjoyable experience. Maybe it's just while the chunks are loading and we can tune it a little bit in the settings. Maybe we can go from 7 chunks to 5. Let's see, is it any better? Well, it actually started running quite well somehow. So when the chunks are fully loaded, the GPU goes up to 100%, and then we get about 80 FPS. The problem is when it starts rendering and doing a little bit of thinking, because then it just becomes very choppy. I see we get this jagged FPS whenever we load new chunks, and that's basically gonna be the standard for an old CPU together with a very old HDD, just like that. But I want to take this up a notch and actually get into the upgrades. So what exactly are we dealing with here? For the screws, we're only going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and hopefully that's how it's going to be. It also looks like this laptop comes with an SD card reader, and I'm not sure about the speeds. They're probably not that great, but at least it comes with an adapter. Behind these grills, there's some sort of memory chip looking things, and I really hope that's for the RAM, because if we can't really upgrade the RAM, then I don't think this is going to be any better than before. Over here next to the battery, there's this glorious out-glancing speaker system consisting of only 2 small speakers. And their positioning isn't that OCD friendly either. I have no idea why they slanted it down like that. We do have something more OCD friendly on our hands, and that's the latch placement for the removable battery. The only problem I see with the system is you have to do some sort of finger gymnastics for it to work, and I'm pretty sure that's offensive for people who have less than like 6 fingers. But I'm gonna try my best, and hopefully this battery comes out. There we go. So this one just stays on red, and I'm pretty sure that's just the lock for it now that I think about it. And if we put it back and this lock is open, I'm pretty sure it comes right out. The lock goes to the left, then this latch doesn't really work. So it is inclusive, and I was wrong the whole time. And there's a trusty old genuine 4400 mAh battery. And judging by how old this laptop was, I was expecting a lead acid battery, but lithium ion is pretty good. You know what? Let's go inside, and we're not going to be using any anesthesia. Yeah, I don't think this screwdriver is gonna cut it because it literally just stripped the screw and it didn't do anything else. Let's go in with something more precise. There we go. It's the little things. Let's do this one as well. It feels like the screws are stuck in there with some sort of glue, and oh, yep, they just fall out. Or at least one falls out because the other one, there we go. Through this blue adhesive, you can literally see the moment in time right to repair basically disappears, but it is a pretty nice throwback. Because I'm pretty sure manufacturers nowadays would rather rivet their electronics shut rather than giving you the chance to open them up. Is that memory oh god, it's soldered to the motherboard and you can only add in another stick. That is actually horrendous. I'm very curious if we could just replace this Wi-Fi card with some sort of modern storage, but I guess we'll check that out later. And there's our old hard drive inside this metal cage, and I really hope these screws are missing from the factory and nobody actually stole them off from me. I don't actually remember if I paid anyone to do some repair work on this laptop except for like reinstalling Windows. But by the looks of it, the cage is pretty wiggly, so I guess someone did steal them after all. You know, this whole missing screw situation for the hard drive cage makes me wonder if we really got it new or if we just got it off of some dodgy guy. Needless to say though, everything else looks like it's in its place, so let's just keep going. Let's see, is this gonna fall apart? There we go. Oh, okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. I really hope I can take this laptop apart without actually killing the functionality of the latches. There we go, come out little buddy. Is it finally time? Is this beast gonna come out of its shell? Let's see, because I don't even know where to grab it from in order to pull this plastic cover off. It feels like this was sealed shut with some sort of glue so water doesn't get in or something. I don't think it's made to be this hard, is it? Maybe I'm supposed to think with portals or something. Could it open from the front in some type of way? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't want this to be the end of the video, so I'm just gonna try to pull as hard as I can and hopefully I don't break something. But oh, well, something happened and I'm pretty sure it was supposed to. Let's just close it back and try to pull a little harder. I'm pretty sure you know the struggle of this stage when you're sticking your fingers in some sort of technology and you're hoping it's not gonna close in on you and cut your fingers off. Like if you've ever tried to open something up at least once, you know exactly how this pain feels. And I really hope we're not gonna break the laptop here, but I guess we got a little bit of progress in, right? And while I pull on this, I don't really see the motherboard moving, so I guess it does open from the front. Let's see if I'm gonna ruin everything, or this was actually the way to go. Well, it's not looking too good, but I hope this can go back to its original shape at one point. Man, I'm not having this anymore, so I think I'm just gonna go for the pry open the edges with a screwdriver technique. I don't think microplastics were supposed to come out of this thing, but I guess it's full of surprises, isn't it? We might be able to hold the keyboard while we pull this out because it doesn't seem to be attached to the plastic frame. There's a little hole over here on the left and on the right side, so maybe we can just stick something into it and hope we can... Oh! Well, something moved and I think it's a good sign. I'm not sure if this much flex was supposed to happen, but oh, I guess the keyboard came out. Or maybe it just broke off. Let's see. There we go. And now if I hold this and put the trusty screwdriver over here, and it seems like there's more latches that we didn't see initially. And somehow it came out. And there's a ribbon cable underneath the keyboard. Can we just pull this out like Legos? Let's see. It feels like Tim Apple also intervened while this laptop was being developed. Because otherwise I can't explain why even more modern Did that break? Well, I hope we can still put this blue connector back because I don't want to break this laptop. I still want to use the keyboard if I can. Maybe we could try to get into the corner with... There we go. Now it seems like we have to take out these metal screws as well. This is starting to feel like I'm taking apart a Mac and I really don't like this feeling. Otherwise I would have gone out my way and found a 10-year-old MacBook Air or something. Is it finally time to feel like we're not breaking anything? Or is there gonna be some more horrendous cracking? Let's see. Well, now it feels like the HDMI is keeping everything together and I really don't know why. Never mind, of course there was another screw. How did I miss that? There we go. Releasing tension one screw at a time. Is it finally time? Oh, Jesus. Well, now some other part feels like it's holding it shut and I don't know which one. Never mind, I think we just have to pop this corner out as well. And there we go. Let's see, is this gonna be a money shot or... Something's holding it in place again. And this time I'm pretty sure it's this ribbon cable over here. Alright, now how am I supposed to get this out? Never in a million years I would think a touchpad cable would be the death of me, but I guess I was wrong. This blue thing kind of looks like a pull tab, but how are we gonna put it back in place? Alright, it's now or never. And it's so hard to pull on this thing. There we go. I'm really hoping a touchpad is still gonna work when I try to put it back in, because otherwise I'm just gonna throw it in the trash. Let's also pull on this dodgy fan cable. I'm very curious on who exactly made these ribbon cables because I can't take them out. Well, I was just playing with this one and I realized you can pull them up and that's the way to put them back in as well. Silly of me, of course. So that means we can just pull this fully up and of course it's just gonna come right out. And with that, it's finally time to look at the insides. Well, what can I say? It does look like a laptop motherboard, and what else? The fan isn't that dirty considering 13 years of dust have accumulated inside of this thing. But I really hope we can take this out and clean it a little bit more. Look at these memory chips just soldered onto the motherboard like that, man. It really makes me cry when I see stuff like this. And it looks like some sort of dust bunny gave birth over here around the hinge. It is pretty disgusting, but nowhere near 13 years of constant dust accumulation. And I've seen 2-year-old tech being more dirty than this, so this did a really good job at keeping out the dust. Let's take out the fan, because the copper pipe does look kind of stuck onto the motherboard and I don't think we can just pull this out and leave this in. There's some tape holding the fan in place and I'm not sure why they put this in, but I guess that's just how computers work. Why are we stuck at this level? Is there some sort of screw holding this in place again? Maybe if we pull out the power connector, maybe the screen. So this was indeed the power cable, this was for the screen, and this one was for the fan. I really hope this is gonna come out easily. Is this the final screw? I really hope it is. Alright, let's see if we can just pull out this abomination of an Xbox looking motherboard. Something's holding the writer in place and... Oh, I'm pretty sure it was the SATA connector. Moment of truth? Yep, it's still stuck. You know what else is stuck? The dust inside my airways. I literally cannot breathe from the dust that I took in. But we have to keep it going. We have to get to the end of this. Some tiny ports can't just hold us in place from achieving greatness. Or at least I'm pretty sure it's the ports because I don't want to pull on this any further and I'm only feeling tension over here. Maybe there's another screw. Maybe I'm just missing something. Or maybe it was just this SD card keeping it all in place. Of course there's more microplastics falling off because why not? And is it finally gonna feel like a money shot that we've been waiting for? I can't believe this actually came out. Nope, there's still something holding it in place. And that would be, in fact, the Wi-Fi card. I really want this to come out without too much hassle because I don't want to film through cracks anymore. I don't want my frame consisting of gaping holes inside this laptop. But I guess there's always one more screw. And with that out of the way and somehow not falling into the crevices of this motherboard, we can just pull on this Wi-Fi card. And we finally took the motherboard out. I really wish we could use the carcass and make like some sort of laptop sleeper build, but we've got animal carcass and some guts. Let's just take a look at the guts because I'm already done with this. Look at that, another screw, and I have no idea where this is from, but it was inside the fan, so I guess we're just gonna put it on the side. And to me, it kind of looks like a hard drive cage screw, so whoever screwed with this laptop had a left hand. I am left-handed though, so I'll just forgive it. But I'm just wondering if that was causing the hard drive noise that I was calling out a little bit earlier, or if that just fell through the grills and somehow made its way into the fan right now while taking it apart. So aside from using the spare RAM slot to add in another RAM stick and changing the hard drive to a SATA SSD, I don't think there's much else we can do. But before we get into that, I really want to take this copper heat pipe off and change the thermal paste for that CPU and maybe the GPU. But that's only if they use thermal paste under there, because I really don't want to find any worn out thermal pads. I have nothing to replace those with. I wasn't really planning for voiding my warranty, but I guess we have to take this label off, and yeah, it's falling apart. And there we go. Oh god. Yeah, I think this screw is literally going to be yellow because this isn't coming off anytime soon. And now for the GPU, or at least I think that's the GPU. Moment of truth. Ugh, well at least they applied thermal paste, but I don't know what the orange things are for. Apparently this is called Kapton tape, and one of its main uses is just preventing leaks and short circuits from frying your more precious components like your CPU or your GPU. In this case, I think it's pretty clear that they used it just so the thermal paste wouldn't spread to the PCB. But one thing I noticed straight away is that the CPU wasn't actually soldered onto the motherboard like the GPU. This one actually looks like it has its own socket, but I think one of the problems that's going to come up when trying to upgrade this to a weird 2nd gen i7 would be that the power delivery to this thing wouldn't be enough. So I guess we could upgrade it maybe to a 2nd gen i5 or just leave it like that. But that's for another video. And hopefully there's not going to be too much residue laying around from this tape and we can change it and clean it up, because otherwise I'm going to go insane. And of course it left some residue, because why not? I really hope we can clean that up with some alcohol and get on with our day. Now let's see it for the GPU. Is this going to be any better? Of course not. I really don't want this tape to break into even more pieces, and I guess God was on our side. You know, in cleaning chips, I always go for isopropyl alcohol, and I never go for alcohol wipes or anything like that. But when you run out of that 90+% goodness, and all you have is some wipes, and the tech is pretty old, I don't mind it. Just make sure that they don't have too much fragrance added, because otherwise you're going to disrupt your hormones. And you really don't want to do that because that increases mortality. I'd say we did a pretty good job. Now for the GPU, a little touching up, and I think it's going to be ready to go real soon. It seems like the strongest thing that's resisting being taken out is that actual adhesive from the Kapton tape. Of course I won't mind if it gets to stay because it's been living there for about 13 years. But it would be really nice to get a close-up shot of a really clean socketed laptop CPU. I really wanted to clean this up with a single Q-tip, but it seems like it's impossible. I'm pretty sure the thermal paste is now part of the PCB because it's not coming off whatsoever. I guess we're gonna stop scrubbing because I really don't want to mess this up. Otherwise, this is going to become a Mr. Bean painting situation where the CPU is just going to become a smudge of what it once was. And like any thermal paste Reddit expert would say, a little bit of thermal paste residue is always welcome in a system. It was there to begin with and the system functioned completely fine, so why change it up so much that it's unrecognizable? And would you look at that? I think we did a pretty good job, and look at that beautiful CPU. Now we can see it in all its glory. Like, have you ever seen an arrow over there there for the socket. It's just truly marvelous engineering after all. Even though it was just the biggest pain to get into the system, I really think it was worth it. Over here up top, this metal plate looks like it's kind of floating above this chip or VRM, and I'm pretty sure there's a thermal pad under that, and I really don't want to change that because I have nothing to replace it with. So I'm just gonna leave it like that and clean the outside of it, because we don't want to try too hard when cleaning up a system. We just want to give it a refresh. There we go. Good as new. Ah, so much thermal paste falling off. Look at that. Back when GPUs were tiny and they didn't act like combustion engines. Should we just give the ports a quick rub, because they look pretty dusty, and I really want this to feel as good as new. Because if it's a confident laptop, it's gonna run way better, of course. At least on the outside it's gonna feel like a champ, because the insides are quite underpowered, and I really don't want this little guy to feel overwhelmed and just shut down and never start up again. And now for this weird dirty copper concoction that looks like it took its metals from 20 BC. I'm pretty sure we can go ham with the wipe here, because it's really not going to damage anything. And I don't think it's complying with me here, so I guess another wipe it is. Maybe we're going to use baking soda and vinegar for the speedrun cleaning edition of this laptop, even though vinegar is going to melt nickel heat sinks and turn into some deadly compound like Nova 6. And it looks pretty clean to me. Maybe another wipe just to make sure. Man, the wipe isn't doing a single thing for the residue, so I guess I just gotta go ham with this cotton earbud and call it a day. Did I just call this a cotton earbud? I'm pretty sure these are cotton ear tips or Q-tips, but I spent too much time in my life on a certain video about AirPods, so I guess they are just interchangeable in my brain. There we go, way better. Let's clean the outside of the pipe as well. Even though this is flimsy, primitive technology, I really want this laptop to feel well groomed. Before this dirty fan, I really don't know how to proceed. It looks kind of sealed shut, so I think the blow dryer approach would be the safest way to go. Look at that, more cancerous residue on my fingers. We're just gonna go in lightly with a Q-tip first, and then we'll see. Well, dust is coming off, so we might as well get away with this instead. Look at that, more powder for your lungs. It's a really sore sight, but this is the reality of not cleaning your electronics in time. I'm pretty sure I could have used that dust to clone my 11-year-old self and send him to work for a living, or at least make him my cameraman or something. But I don't think he would have wanted that in the end. I think he would have just been happy that his laptop is running in prime condition. Hopefully this isn't gonna damage the fan and it's still gonna run like before. And now to initiate the spreading of the Nova 6 gas. And the other side. And that's about it. Maybe I can skin one of these ear tips alive and make it real thin, just like the troll's hair, just so we could have an improvised fan brush, that's all, because I still see some residue over there in those fan blades. But it seems like it's not working, so I'm just gonna lightly rub the fan blades with my screwdriver and hopefully it's gonna work. There we go. Good as new. I mean, I think I would be happy with even a 0.1 degree decrease in temps, because that basically means we just changed the course of the future. But let's just stop defiling this fan any further, collect the debris, and get on with our day. Now all we have to do is take any sort of thermal paste, just like this Deep Cool one, and apply it to the CPU and the GPU without causing a massive fire. You know, I think eyeing the right amount of thermal paste is a very valuable skill, because you put too much over there and things are basically gonna suffocate. But if you put too little, things are gonna go up in flames, or at least thermal throttle very, very hard. But I think this is just the right amount for both of them, so let's just put on that heatsink and keep going. Now I don't want to get this wrong and spread thermal paste everywhere, so we have to be really precise when placing this down. And hopefully not make it wiggle too much, because I don't want to clean anything up. There we go. I really don't like how stressful this is, and it really shouldn't feel like this. There we go, that wasn't too hard. Now for upgrades, let's start with the RAM. This tiny label does indeed have a product code and serial number written on it. The problem is you can't really understand the values that you're supposed to buy from those codes alone. It's not like the newer RAM sticks that you can literally tell the timing, the amount, and the frequency just from the code alone. But if you actually go ahead and check Intel's page for this i3-2328M chip, it doesn't even support 1600 MHz to begin with. You know, I really like movie magic, because you can just spawn in some brand new tech and it's not gonna look like it's been 4 weeks since you last filmed. This is a spare new Zeppelin RAM stick with 8 whole new gigabytes we could use, clocked at around 1600 MTs or megahertz or whatever you want to call them. Now I really hope this mighty Zeppelin isn't gonna make our system run like that famous old Zeppelin from back in the day, because I'm gonna need a fire extinguisher real soon if that happens. But I do like Battlefield 1 quite a lot, so I wouldn't mind playing it again in real life this time. It also has the sus symbol from back in the day, so I guess they're making a direct reference to that crazy blimp. But without any further ado, let's take the stick out of the shell and see what we have on hand. It doesn't really want to come out. You see, the new RAM sticks always have the values on them. I don't know why they didn't do that for the laptop RAM. It's made in Taiwan, and I'm pretty sure these modules are just 1 GB times 8. I think it's going to be a pretty good choice. Certain pages that have written about this laptop state that this can take a max of 12 GB including the soldered memory, so I guess the 8 GB RAM stick was the perfect choice after all. I really want to hear a click, because otherwise I'm going to be really disappointed. Now that that's all over, let's just mount it all back. We could start with the fan power, but it seems like I forgot what I did exactly, so I'm just gonna start with a back plate and hopefully it's gonna be good. And by back plate, I mean whatever this plate is called. It technically isn't called a back plate, it's more like a front plate since it has a touchpad and stuff like that. I really hope I didn't break any of the ribbon cables, because otherwise we're screwed and the laptop isn't gonna work like before. I think that's pretty good. So if I remember this right, we could spin it back around and see the layout of the screws. And if I'm correct, that looks just like a fan. The SSD would go in here, and that looks like the thing for the DVD writer. So maybe if we place it just like this, it's gonna be perfect. Manufactured March 2013, so this wasn't that 2012 edition, it was 2013. And since this only has one connector, we could just start with that. I'm pretty sure the last screws I took out were on the other side, so let's just spin it around. Yep, I do remember this source site, and if my memory serves me well, I think we can just lift up this latch and put the ribbon cables in for every single connector. That PW stands for power, and it looked like it was routed to the power button, so I guess that's that. Touchpad hopefully is still gonna work. Yeah, this time I didn't hear any sort of click, so maybe we'll just close that and hopefully we did something good. I'm pretty sure the order in which I placed down the screws on the table was right, and there's no holes for the fan to be screwed in, so let's just take the screen and try it there, because I really don't remember. And of course we're gonna have to disconnect everything again, because why not? You don't think it's my fault. I want to do this in one take and the universe isn't collaborating whatsoever. Just like when this happens. Now this looks more familiar, doesn't it? But real talk now, I really hope that that power button is still gonna work. Because that plastic blue tape fell off, and I really hope that wasn't a part of the actual connector and it was just holding it in place, or it acted like a pull tab or something. But we're back to square one, so let's just place the laptop into its carcass. Let's see if this thing is finally gonna work. And there we go. I really don't want things to float anymore, so could you just fit into your own hole? Thank you. Is this fan supposed to click into there, because it's floating as well? Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work too well. Well, I guess it did slide in, but it made a huge click. Whatever it is that I broke, it's not my fault, okay? It's just those silly engineers that Asus literally stole from Apple, because otherwise I can't explain engineering like this. And of course this tape wouldn't stick anymore, because why would it? If I remember correctly, these two screws in my lineup were from the fan. Now this next screw, I have no idea from where it is. I'll just place it right there, screw it in a little bit, and hopefully we can continue. There we go. Oh yeah, and then I couldn't pull out the motherboard because of the Wi-Fi card, so let's get onto that side. But let's just plug the screen in first, and this is kind of a flimsy connector, but I really hope it can go in. Maybe I could use these wide edges and put it in somehow. It looks very much like a linear story game, and that just clicked as well. I'll just push it a little bit further just to make sure, and I think we're good to go. Put that tape back on like nothing happened. And for the laptop brick to actually work, we have to plug in this power connector over there under the motherboard. Of course, just where we took it out from, but I'm just slowly recalling what I'm supposed to do. And I think it went in pretty nicely. There we go. When in doubt, always use a small screwdriver. So maybe now we can route these cables underneath this tape. Is this how it's supposed to go? Maybe we can heat up this tape so it's gonna work again. Yeah, no, this isn't gonna work at all. Maybe now we can put the DVD writer back. It seems more fluent than last time I tried. Okay, now I lost track of which screws are supposed to go where, so I'm just gonna wing it. But I'm pretty sure this was screwed in because otherwise it would slide out. And now maybe, just maybe, we can put the lid back on. I don't think the blue tape was that important. Let's just proceed with the ribbon cables and hopefully not mess it up any further. Ah, what a satisfying click that is. Yeah, now the chassis feels very loose, so I think I messed something up. The pins look like they're on the opposite side of the blue tape, so I think we're good. I'm pretty sure we were supposed to screw this DVD writer through this hole, but I'm just gonna leave it like that. Or maybe I could just open up the chassis, take out the screw, and hopefully not break any of the ribbon cables. This feels like Saving Private Ryan. There we go. And it looks like there's only 3 spaces for the screws left, and I only have 3 screws, so I don't think we can do any more wrong. This is flexing less and less as we speak. Now it's time for the keyboard. We just gotta do a little bit of blowing. Now how exactly am I supposed to plug this back in? Maybe pins facing downwards, blue tape upwards, and pull this plastic frame out. Well, it looks like it's supposed to go in here and it's pretty tight and secure. I don't want to push any further, so maybe we can push back this plastic frame and hopefully that's tight and it's not gonna fall out. It doesn't look like it responds to my pulling, so I think we're all good. Now we have to place this keyboard back and hopefully not break the ribbon cable in the process. Now this bottom part with the latches was the last one that was stuck, and if I just place it down like that, it's not gonna wiggle in place, so it did go in somewhere. And maybe if we just pull on it a little bit towards ourselves, there we go. I think that's in. It does feel pretty secure if you ask me. But upon further inspection, the keyboard actually wiggles in place, so maybe we have to pull those latches out first. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that latch is broken. Of course it's broken, because something had to break in the process, didn't it? Okay, so it seems like if I slide in the top first, the bottom stays out, and I can just flex it and put it in. Well, I think the latches are in, and there's not much wiggle except for this top left part where the latch broke, but I really don't care about this anymore. Now I see it, so when you just try to click the keyboard in, the plastic latch doesn't want to get over the metal part from the keyboard over there, but there's a small hole and you could just pull the latch up. Just like that. And now the keyboard is fully secure, at least on this right and middle side. This top left part has a very small amount of wiggle just because we broke that top left latch next to the escape key, but I think we can't do anything about it anymore. We're not going to be gaming with any earthquake level vibrations anyway, so I think we're good. So let's just close the screen and take care of the back. Now, where were we? See, the RAM stick looks pretty good and it even matches the bottom part of the laptop. And now we gotta screw in the Wi-Fi card. There we go. Did I put this white wire back where it came from? Yep. And I'm pretty sure the small screw we found inside the fan actually fell out while I was trying to unscrew the Wi-Fi card, so let's just put that back in. Can we tuck these wires back in a little bit? Now for the hard drive cage. We're still stuck with only 2 small screws, so we have to make this work somehow. It seems like you could screw any type of SATA SSD with this cage because it has screw holes on the sides and on the back. And even though it kind of is a downgrade, we could use this Kingston 240 gig SSD because it's going to be blazing fast compared to that HDD. Even though we're basically going to lose like 250 gigabytes, games are still going to run way more smooth than that one. We could just plug it in and call it a day, but it's going to be very flappy and I really don't want a sudden system shutdown and losing all my files or game progress. So let's just do ourselves a favor and slide it into the cage and use it like that. Alright, now that that's done, it's time to turn this bad boy around, install Windows on the brand new SSD, hopefully use that RAM and run some video games. The tool we're going to use for the implant of the new OS onto the system will be a DTSE9 from Kingston as well. Now on this flash drive I installed a tiny version of Windows 11 called Tiny11 by NTDev. If you don't know what Tiny11 is, it's this small stripped down version without any of the Microsoft bloatware of the latest Windows 11, or at least the 24H2 version. One thing Tiny11 is really good at doing is it basically lets you install Windows Windows 11 on way older devices than what we have today. Microsoft invented some restrictions on what kind of CPUs it can accept, and this one doesn't have its famous TPM. But with the help of Tiny11, you can just plug this flash drive in, install Windows 11 locally, make it run on all sorts of hardware, and we're gonna do just that. I just hope the system is gonna turn on. Let's plug the flash drive in, and I swear sometimes I need a juggernaut suit for stuff like this. And let's do it. Alright, no LEDs so far. What if we just try to turn it on? Yeah, I don't think it's alive. Yep, we definitely murdered it. Alright, quick troubleshooting because I really don't want this to take 2 months. I remember the LED turning on whenever that was plugged in because we had the battery in, so let's just put that in and hope for the best. There we go. Alright, next we could plug it in and take a look at the LEDs. And there's an LED turning on, so that means it's the power button. Luckily, we can access it by taking out the keyboard, so we're just gonna do that. My question is, how do we plug it in a little deeper? Because we don't have that plastic tab anymore. I'll just try to do my best and push it in. And I guess we could test it just like that. Nothing yet. I'm really wondering if it's just like PCs where you can touch your screwdriver and hopefully the PC turns on. Oh. What? No way, we actually turned it on with a screwdriver. That's insane. Alright, well, I need the power button to work as I can't do this every single time. So let's try to stick something in there so we can simulate the blue piece. Can't even turn it off, of course. There we go. Maybe if I try to plug them in together like this, it's gonna work. Should have become a surgeon instead. Alright, now it feels like it's in there. Let's give it a go. Damn it. Yeah, I don't think this ribbon cable situation is gonna be fixed anytime soon. So another repair job gone wrong, at least for now until I can get a new ribbon cable off of like AliExpress. But let's just short the motherboard and get into our system once and for all. There we go. Spam F12. The laptop did turn on, shorting the pins with a screwdriver over there where the power connector ribbon cable was supposed to go in. The problem is the screen doesn't turn on whatsoever, and that's just after the surgery because you saw it was perfectly functional before that. Like even plugged into another monitor, it just doesn't want to connect to the GPU, I suppose. It is receiving power and this lock thing is on as well, but it doesn't do anything else. The fan does actually work as well, and everything literally sounds like before, but the screen just doesn't want to turn on. And if we try to short it again to turn it on, it's the exact same story. Take a look at the sounds. Alright, now let's see if the RAM was the problem all along, because we did get post one time. Of course the RAM was a problem. I really don't get it. It started up one time perfectly with the RAM stick put in. How about we put it in again? Maybe the RAM overheated or something. Good as new. Yep, so it doesn't like the RAM. One final short and spam F2 to get into the BIOS. This laptop literally just killed the RAM stick. I mean, it turned on at one point and then I just heard some sort of coil whine or some coil sounds inside the laptop, and I'm pretty sure that fried the RAM stick. Or at least that's the simplest ending that I can think of. This RAM stick literally heats up so bad when I plug it into this laptop, and it wasn't like that at the beginning. We could go ahead and buy another one, or we could just test this laptop in its own 4 GB and see what it's capable of with a new SSD. So now we've basically killed the touchpad because that doesn't work as well, the RAM stick, and it just has a new SSD. You know, it really is a bummer. With 4 gigs of RAM left in our system and no spare stick whatsoever, a keyboard that has to stay all flappy and stuff so we can access the power button, and a completely unfunctional touchpad, we have to plug in our own gear as well. But hey, maybe the RGB from the keyboard is gonna boost the performance at least a little bit. Yeah, I think Counter-Strike is gonna take a very long time to load now that we only have 4 GB of RAM. And of course, even with the new SSD, the download and install speeds for this laptop still had to suffer with only those 4 gigs of RAM. Especially for Minecraft, an install which would take like 20 seconds for a regular PC now took a whopping 1 minute and 20 seconds. But that wasn't gonna stop me from testing a handful of games, so let's get right into it. Honestly, I don't even know what to expect. Let's just start with Minecraft because that's a classic and we can compare it to the previous performance. And apparently apparently I messed up the speakers as well, so we're gonna have to plug in some headphones if we want to hear anything. The only things that I actually changed were the OS, and it's pretty stripped down, but I'm pretty sure Windows 11 is more resource intensive than Windows 7. We also changed the thermal paste, so that should give us a boost in temps and stuff like that. And of course the new SATA SSD, which is basically gonna be the star of the show considering the fact that we couldn't upgrade the RAM. The initial performance is a little bit better, but the stutters are still there. It's not the same situation as on Windows 7, it actually goes down to 10 to 15 FPS, so this is even worse. The game is in fact using the 610M, so that's good, it didn't auto route to the Intel graphics, but it is extremely stuttery, and I think more stuttery than the Windows 7 install. And when we go back to some previously loaded chunks, or maybe even lower the chunks a little bit, it's basically the same story. I'm pretty sure the RAM was gonna be pretty good in Minecraft's case, because this uses a lot of that, but this isn't any good. While the chunks are loaded, it's kind of stuck to 30-ish FPS, so maybe we can tweak that in the settings. We could turn VSync off and then maybe go to 7 chunks again and see if there's a difference. Let's also go to graphics fast and let's see what we've done. Alright, so 40, 45 to 50 FPS so far. It is pretty smooth if you ask me. It's definitely playable in this state, and I've even seen some 70s over there, low 70s. So if you plan to play alone, this is perfectly playable if you move kinda slow and don't mind the loading chunks. Even walking towards some new chunks is now bearable, and it doesn't have those stutters that the hard drive was making. So the secret to save the CPU's performance is just tweak the settings a little bit in the game and turn the render distance all the way down to like a 7 or a 6. There's gonna be some stutters while loading chunks, but this is a huge improvement compared to the Windows 7 install. But I'm pretty sure that's just because we changed the thermal paste and we changed it to a SATA SSD. And going all the way back to what we loaded previously, it's gonna be very smooth, of course. Next up is gonna be our old friend Skyrim. I don't want to play with the settings too much in game because I know there's certain ones you can only change through the screen alone. So let's just let it detect what it thinks it's best and go on from there. Of course they set it for low quality. So what's this? Around 20 FPS inside a building with settings on low. So let's just see how it is outside. So I'm pretty sure this is just GPU bound to about 18, 17 FPS around this fountain with a lot of things going on screen. But let's just go to a more stable area in terms of graphics. Yep, and Riverwood is about the same story. 14 FPS-ish, 15, up to 20 almost. One thing I can say though is there's not a lot of stuttering and the FPS is kind of constant. I mean, it's a pretty playable experience, stutter free, and I think back in the day I would have liked this a lot. It's about a constant 16, 18 FPS. But why is it that Skyrim only detects the Intel graphics? What's wrong with a GPU? Minecraft was definitely running on the 610M because I saw it in the top right corner. We have to make this run through the GPU itself. Let's just change it in the NVIDIA control panel to just the 610M alone. And there we go. Now is it gonna work? I don't think it wants to use the 610M. I'm extremely excited, but I don't think this is gonna run whatsoever. I mean, best case scenario, we'll just get into the main menu and I'll be okay with that. Of course, we gotta install BattlEye on this thing. I mean, so far so good. Alright, 29, 31 FPS just in this intro alone. Is it stuck? Apparently not. It's running pretty good. I think this is the best experience we had so far. So it changed the res on its own. I really hope they're not playing a joke on us. Let's go for story mode. Imagine if this actually works. I just have a feeling it's gonna be loading for like 10 years, but... Oh, what? It actually what? Okay, there's a lot of input lag. My mouse doesn't even work. Oh, that's crazy. This is actually insane. GTA 5 working on this laptop better than any game so far. Okay, Alt Enter just makes the screen a little wide. This is crazy. You can play the story game. What? I'm pretty sure this looks even better than the Xbox 360 version. 23, 24 constant FPS. This has to be a joke. Is this pre-recorded? There's animals as well. Let's check the settings real quick. 1 GB. Alright, so it's using the 610M definitely, because otherwise it wouldn't run at all. VSync is on half. I'll turn that to off. Everything is normal. Reflection quality for some reason is high. I'll turn it to normal. Soft shadows are sharp. Can we turn them off? I guess just sharp. And yeah, that's about it. 900 megabytes worth of textures and settings and stuff. But we could run it in full screen, and let's try this out. Yes, I definitely want to keep them. This is actually insane. How is this running on this laptop? What if we put another 8 gigabytes into this thing? Somehow it also took the cloud save, so this is even better. We don't have to start in that North Yankton place. Unless there's some weird glitches that are gonna kick us out of the cutscenes, this is actually insane. This is playable. I'd argue this is more playable than Skyrim, and I'm pretty sure that only used the Intel graphics, but still. Like, look at this thing. I've never seen something like this running on an ancient laptop with 4 gigs of RAM. And pretty good. You can use a slow-mo version, you can quick swap weapons and stuff. What about some flying? Let's do some flying. Some high-speed, high-res driving in GTA with 4 gigs of RAM. I'm pretty sure the speed also kind of dumbs the textures down, but with this SSD, we're not falling through floors either. Like, if you gave this to a 6-year-old that's never had access to a PC, I'm pretty sure he would be extremely impressed with this. Like, imagine making him play Minecraft on this thing and then suddenly turning it to GTA 5. It would be a game changer. I don't think I ever tried to run GTA 4 on this laptop back in the day, let alone GTA 5. Did they improve this game or something? Because this is a legacy version, so it should run even worse than that expanded and enhanced thing. 25 to 30 FPS, maybe even high 30s. And I know flying isn't really an accurate measurement, because when you're playing GTA 5, you're not going to have these dumbed down textures when you're flying. But I haven't seen a lot of stutters, so that's perfect. Maybe new Minecraft isn't that optimized and it basically just kills your CPU and your RAM while playing it. But this game gets the green light for me, except for those textures, those weird textures on the side of the lake over here. Like, even flying fast, loading textures, I'm pretty sure the SSD is doing the hard job over here, but this is pretty good. Look, over the ocean, we're almost hitting 60 FPS, 59 for a 13-year-old budget laptop from back in the day. Over the ocean, so if you want to do this, you're definitely hitting 64 FPS. You know, I was gonna go out and buy another RAM stick, but I don't think we have to after that GTA 5 experience. And you know we have to do Portal 2. Let's see what Aperture Science has in stock for us today. 47 FPS, so just like before, but there's no stutters whatsoever. Up 75, 84 FPS, 76. Is this just because of the SSD? Or maybe it's because of this room. Let's see. Alright, so 70 something FPS when we're just going through these halls, and 50, 46 when we get to the test chamber, but it looks way more stable and stutter free compared to the Windows 7 Portal install. But we can't tell for sure if it's the exact same performance, and the SSD should make it a little better, even sometimes in terms of FPS. I'm not sure if GTA 5 ran really well just because it was really optimized, and Rockstar isn't really known for good optimization. And I don't think you're gonna have trouble with Source games, and if we add that extra stick of RAM, it would probably be way better. So for old games like Skyrim and stuff that hasn't really been updated in a long time, I think this laptop is perfectly fine. For games that have received quite a lot of updates in the last few years like Minecraft, I think it's going to be pretty stuttery unless you add in some more good RAM. For semi-recent games like GTA 5 with huge open worlds and stuff like that, I think it was quite impressive. I wasn't expecting it to run as it did, and I wasn't even expecting it to start up, but somehow it did. I really want to see if GTA 4 and games like such can run on this thing, like Watch Dogs and stuff like that, but I was pretty happy with the results. And if you add in another stick of RAM that doesn't get burnt like mine did, I think you're gonna get even better results. Should you do major surgery on an old laptop like this one? Maybe. At least if it's a budget one, it's not your only daily driver and you won't mind if it breaks. But this is perfect for a little brother, a toddler, or anybody that doesn't really know anything about PCs. Just make sure you don't break the keyboard touchpad just like I did. What we added to this laptop was this minimalist edition of Windows 11 that ran fine, and it can serve as a good OS in 2025. I don't really recommend it for a daily driver since I don't know about the updates and stuff like that, but it's basically a stripped down version of the OS. I would use it on old PCs, old laptops, and stuff that isn't really allowed by Microsoft to run Windows 11. We also added in a Kingston 240 gig SATA SSD, and it's not the fastest one, but it did the job pretty well. What we did wrong though is we fried the new RAM stick, and I have no idea how that happened. The keyboard sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't, and it also has some dead zones, and I'm pretty sure it's associated with the ribbon cable being placed incorrectly into its socket. We also messed up the pins of the ribbon cable from the power button, and the touchpad doesn't seem to work at all, and I probably ruined the ribbon cable for that as well. Is a disassembly and reassembly like this worth it? Probably not. If you already have some peripherals and you want to sacrifice the portability of this laptop and you just want to use it at home with a keyboard and a mouse, it's definitely worth it. Just make sure you add in another RAM stick or something. On the other hand, if you want portability, you want to take this outside, you want to buy it a new battery, I don't think the surgery is worth it. Maybe you can try this on other laptops that aren't that complex to open up, but definitely don't risk cutting ribbon cables and stuff like that. I'm sure there's old laptops and maybe even more new laptops that are simpler than this. Pretty sure most new ones also have this backplate you can just open up and change whatever you need to change. It's definitely not worth buying this exact model off of eBay or something like that just to fix it up, and I'm pretty sure you could just get away with a gaming PC instead. But I'm definitely going to test this out further and hopefully buy another RAM stick that's going to work. But for now I just have to use that damn soldered RAM. Or actually I'm not even going to use it at all.